Well, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. I hope you're having yourself a great day. Today, we're going to take a look at my Briar builds from the calling. We're going to take a look at how to draft Briar. Specifically, we're going to talk about how to draft Stompy Briar. Now, I did talk to James White, and there are 5 ways to draft Briar. There's Earth Stompy, Lightning Burn, a Earth Splash Lightning, a Lightning Splash Earth, and a hybrid 50-50. Those are the kind of archetypes that they have put together for the set. So today we're going to take a look at both of my drafts, and I did 2 drafts. So I did one draft as part of the calling kind of main event, not the main event. Sorry, I did build Briar, but I did more of a Lightning Briar in the main event. But this deck right here was more of the was for my first one that I bought I bought the tickets for, and then the second one was for the content creator draft, which was the next day, and I had kind of some time to think about it and what I did, and I actually went back to the hotel and looked at this and kind of analyzed what I did wrong. I think I learned a lot. So I want to talk about, after I kind of walked away with this, what were my 3 what was kind of the goal. And so this was the goal. The goal is to pitch 3. That's 1 card. So if you have 4 cards in hand, the goal is to pitch 3, to play 2 non-attack actions, get yourself an embodiment of lightning, attack, and then be able to attack with the wonderful, actually it was my spoiler card, the Rosetta Thorn. This is really, I think, one of the most powerful weapons in the sealed environment, or in the draft environment. Once per turn action, you pay 1 to attack, and whenever you attack with Rosetta Thorn, if you have played an attack action card and a non-attack action card this turn, you get to deal 2 arcane damage. So it's really, if you are able to pull it off, it's a 4 damage split for 1 resource point, which is massive. So let's talk about how to get there. So first off, the first draft that I did, I landed with some decent equipment. These hides are super good. If you're able to get this, I definitely try to get these early. If there's enough, so you have 8 packs, chances are you'll probably only get 1 of these in your draft. So destroy stuff like hides. Target attack action card gains go again. Activate this ability only if you have played a non-attack action this turn. So just really good to get things around. So here's the thing with Briar. Here's what I did wrong the first set. First off, we're going for pretty much all Earth cards. And what I did wrong the first time is I focused way too much on the fusing, and not nearly as much on the attack or on the non-attack actions. And that's something I definitely learned. In this format, you are going to try to balance the cards that you can fuse with. So one of the things I think I came away with is like a 2-to-1 ratio. Essentially, I think I wanted 2 of these cards that require fusing to every 1, and that gave me enough ability to fuse cards in the second time. The first time around, I didn't quite do enough Earth cards. I think I only put like 8 of them in the deck or something like that, as opposed to the ability to trigger what needs to the fuse. But the biggest thing I didn't do in this first build was I did not put in enough non-attack actions. Things like Bramble Spark. Bramble Spark is a 0-cost attack action, non-attack action with Go Again. So the ability to trigger Briar, if you're gonna swing with Rosetta Thorn, you have to be able to play. You have to be able to play an attack action and a non-attack action. And in order to do that, you're going to need to have Go Again, which you're going to want to do by triggering Embodiment of Lightning. So when I got to the second round, or the second Go Again, I really knew what I was doing. So I'm not even going to show you this first deck, because I think it's not great, but I think I learned a lot based on the second deck. So let's just go through the second deck. I haven't even really organized it yet. We'll just kind of do that together, and we'll take a look at what I was able to pull off. So I actually did get the decision of, so I got Briar, obviously. I did get the suede hides, and there were actually 2 of these in our pool, which was super nice because I didn't have to really worry about it. I went with Mark of the Lightning over Cracker Jacks. I actually had the opportunity to get both of them because this +1 was great, but whenever this one right here, an elemental attack you control is defended by a card from hand, that was happening all the time. And so you can destroy it to deal 1 damage to the defending hero. And there's a lot of things in this deck that if it does damage, it does additional damage because you're playing the non-attack action. Let me pop that up. You're playing the non-attack action that triggers that. Let me see which one it is. And because of that, it was just a nice, easy thing to have for trigger. Where's that card? If it would deal extra damage. I don't know what happened to that. We'll find that. So anyway, it was triggering the thing. I probably just passed it. Anyway, so that's the equipment that I ended up getting. Now let's talk about some cards. Number 1, Electrify. My goal here was to get as many low cost and really as many zero cost. So really we should start there. But I wanted to start with Electrify because this card is incredible. And even though I was doing a Stompy green build, I did put a few of these Electrifies in there. Also, that card just looks fantastic in foil because it replaces itself from Arsenal. And that's super important in this deck. You'll notice I also took... what was the other one? I also took the green one that does that. So tomorrow it replaces itself in Arsenal, even though it cost 1, and the goal is to get 2 non-attack actions that cost 0. Even though it costs 1, it replaces itself, so it's super nice. So I went with much more of these than I did the first round. All right, so here's the goal: is to get yourself enough zero cost non-attack actions. So Invigorate was huge. Let's see what else was big. Invigorate and Bramble Spark. These 2 cards were absolutely massive for being able to pull off the 2 per turn. Weave Earth, also pretty good, especially that it is an Earth action. You could use it to fuse. And Invigorate, obviously, I pulled a bunch of those. Bramble Spark, so good because it triggers that arcane damage as well. So these cards right here were kind of the big non-attack actions that I went with. And then I had to pull up some Rejuvenates just to kind of fill it out. Earthlore Storage wasn't as good because of the 2 costs. It's not as easy to play it, although sometimes it still is worth it to pull off. But you know, the key here is to try to... There's another Bramble Spark, another Bramble Spark. You can have more of these in because it's a draft. So the key there was to get as many of these low cost non-attack actions as possible. And so then, you know, on your turn, one of the key things to do is to go second. And here's why. Because you want to try to take the initiative. You want to try to take the momentum from your opponent. And by doing so, what you can do is basically you got yourself a free mulligan. So I went second. And on their turn, I actually didn't worry about the damage. What I was worried about was trying to get my hand to look the way that I wanted it to look. And here's what you really wanted your hand to look like. I really wanted my hand to have 1, 2 zero costs plus any blue, okay, plus some sort of attack. So Stir the Wildwood. So this hand would have been perfect. So turn 1, I just kind of tried to get this type of hand because here's what you're doing. This is the ideal play. And I know I didn't do a full video for this because I really wanted to get this out before this weekend. A lot of you guys are going to be playing the draft. So here's really the goal. On my turn with Briar, right? Let me get everything set. Where's my weapon? With Briar, I got the Rosetta Thorn. I wanted to go ahead and play Weave Earth. The next attack, enough Earth or Elemental attack action I play this turn gains +2. If it's fused, it gains Go Again. And the fusing doesn't really matter. The fusing is like a bonus. If you're able to fuse, then great. If you're not able to fuse, it really just doesn't matter. So then play Bramble Spark. Okay, so now the next attack action card I play this turn gains, when you attack with it, deal 1 arcane damage. And if it was fused, the next attack action card gains +1. And I could have fused that for sure, because I have the Earthwar Surge in my hand. Now, here's the thing. I could, if I had something in my arsenal, I could utilize, and be able to do this differently. But you can't because, you chose to go turn 2. So I'm going to pitch Earthwar Surge for 3 resources and spend 2 of them to play with Stir the Wildwood. Now, I obviously can't fuse here, but it doesn't really matter. I'm attacking for 7, 8, 9, 10 damage on turn 2, 10 damage. And I got the Embodiment of Lightning. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. I got the Embodiment of Lightning because I played 2 non-attack actions. That's Briar's first ability. Whenever second ability, when you play your second non-attack action each turn, create an embodiment of lightning token. So I have Go Again on my next attack. So I spend 2 resources. I'm swinging for 10 with Go Again with an extra resource that now, so, your opponent, you're going to swing for 10 in Blitz. That's massive. So yeah, I may have taken 3, 4, 5 damage on my turn in order to mulligan to get the hand that I needed. But that being said, it allows me to set this up, and now I have everything. I have all the power on my side because I'm going to be attacking for 14 this turn. I'm attacking for 10, and then if they block that, which most opponents didn't really play much against me after turn 2 or latest turn 3. Because I was able to take damage in order to get the hand that I needed. And if you didn't get this on turn 2, what you could try to do is get one of these Sotomara or Electrifies into your arsenal. You're playing one, and then you get it back. You get a card back from your deck that you could then pitch or use to fuse or whatever. So I've got the attack right, and it's dealing like 10 damage. I have 1 resource, and now I'm swinging with Rosetta Thorn, which triggers the ability that deals 2 arcane damage as well as 2 physical damage. So it's just a massive amount of damage with really not a ton of setup. And here's the kicker. If this Stir the Wildwood hits, I also got extra defense stuff with creating an embodiment of Earth token. So if you're not familiar with the embodiment of Earth, it just makes your non-attack action cards you control have +1 while defending. Which you put a lot in your hand. So later game, this becomes more important because later game, you're able to utilize things. Really later game, sometimes the only thing I wanted to do was attack with Rosetta Thorn. If I got you down to 2 life, it didn't matter what you did because there's no arcane, and there's no way to pitch for arcane damage. There's no way to block arcane damage in the format. All I was really trying to do is get you down to 2 life. And then you could block all this, and I could swing with Rosetta Thorn, and there's not much you could do. So anyway, I think it's a really cool way to play the game. I think it's a really cool way to draft this kind of stompy green. I did not focus at all on the lightning. Like the only lightning card that I went with was Electrify, and Electrify is just really good. Like it's so good that it's good in a stompy build. Because the next time an attack action hits the hero this turn, it deals 3 damage to them. Sorry, that was the card I was looking for with Mark of Lightning. Like that's one of the reasons I took Mark of Lightning. I think it's just better than Cracker Jacks, which is my option. But here's the thing. If it's played from Arsenal, it replaces itself. You're playing the action for 1 and it replaces itself. So it's just a really good value engine if it's played from your arsenal. This one, I never really even cared about the ability, the top ability. I just wanted it as a 1-cost action, non-attack action that also replaced itself. And even like cards like Bramble Spark or Invigorate. Like even Invigorate, like I didn't care about the fuse. The fuse didn't really matter to me. If I got to fuse, then great. That was a bonus. But I didn't focus in on the fuse. The only thing I was focused on was getting these 2 attack actions. Keeping these 2 non-attack actions because that allowed me to trigger Rosetta Thorn off of an embodiment of lightning. So let me check my notes and see if there's anything else I wanted to say. So here's the thing. I think a 2-to-1 ratio of non-attack action cards to attack actions. Game 1 or draft 1, I drafted too many attack actions. You don't need that many of them. You just want to make sure you have 1 attack action in your hand every turn. You want to make sure you have a 3 cost to pitch every turn, and then your other 2 cards need to be 0 cost things. And again, like I didn't run into any problems in the 3 games that I played in this with this pool. It was pretty fire. And then, all right, so here's your draft focus. So early game, what I noticed is that the 0 costs were the most important. These seem to go pretty quick. Specifically, Bramble Spark seemed to go pretty fast, and Weave Earth. Weave Earth went pretty quick because it is used in Odom could use it, and it's they're using it to pitch for Earth, to reveal or to fuse for Earth. And so that was one. Invigorate was another one that kind of disappeared early. So like when I drafted the second time, I passed up all the rares in order to get the 0 cost non-attack actions. All these attack actions, they were usually there at the end of the draft, so I didn't really utilize them. And in addition, they're just not that important. Like, it's honestly not that important to have the red ones. Like, it doesn't matter. All you need is attack actions that cost 2, and almost all the attack actions are going to cost 2. Like this Autumn's Touch, these probably don't fit super well. They're kind of just filler because they cost 3, and that kind of breaks this whole trend line that I need. But they were good as, some like fusion, and I tried to take the higher pitch ones, so almost guarantee myself the ability to pitch. So yeah, I don't know. That's number one thing. I think early on you kind of take the 0 cost non-attack actions, Bramble Spark, Invigorate, and then the Sow Tomorrow and Electrify replace themselves. So even though it costs 1, it replaces themselves. So those were pretty good even. Then the second thing I would say to take are the Earth cards to fuse. They will be the most competitive, I think, to get in the pool. You don't need to trigger the fuse, but that's a good secondary ability, and it does add, when it adds 4 damage to your attack, that's super great. Again, I don't think that it's necessary to fuse every turn. I don't think you should be trying to arsenal cards in order to set up a further turn. You just got to get that energy going against your opponent and get them blocking from their hand and shut them down, especially with the Rosetta Thorn. If they block with their hand every turn and you Rosetta Thorn for 4, that's a 5-turn game. Well, really turn 6 because you would have let them go on turn 1. So like that's a 5-turn game that's super good, and they can't do anything about Rosetta Thorn. It's gonna annoy them. Then I would try to get the boots, and then your Earth Fusion attacks are the last thing that you're trying to go for. And again, focusing in on the 2 attacks, the 2 cost attacks was kind of the highlight. So I hope you get a chance to draft. This is not my typical type of video. I actually don't have a ton of drafting experience, and that's why I haven't done this much in the past. But I felt like I played Briar 3 different times. I played it in the main event, and then I drafted it twice. And then I talked to some of the competitive team about how to draft too, and we kind of came up with this, the outline. I think it's super good. Like, it was super fun. It surprises your opponent too, because I think a lot of the times they anticipate more lightning, and it's literally all earth. Like, it's 100% earth minus the electrify. And honestly, don't pass up this card. This card is so good. Unless you're going Oldham, this card is fantastic. I think of the commons, this is probably going to be one of the more sought after commons in the set. It's just so powerful. If it hits, it deals extra damage. But if it's played from its arsenal, it replaces itself. It triggers. It also, if you're playing lightning, it's able to be your fusion card. It's super good. Anyway, hope you guys are having a great day. Let me know what you think about drafting Stompy Green Briar. If you have suggestions in the comments on how to do this better, I would love to hear them. Again, I'm no pro, but I did get to draft twice. I did feel like the first draft, I didn't draft enough non-attack actions. The second draft, I feel like I found the balance, like kind of a 2-to-1 type thing that worked super well. I tried to go 2-to-1 on the attack actions 2-to-1 on non-attack actions to attack actions, so twice as many non-attack actions. I tried to go 2-to-1 on earth, on cards that require fusion and cards that are earth. So that was kind of my balance. Let me know in the comment section what you think, and I really appreciate you guys watching the video. Remember to be kind to the people around you, and let me know how your drafts go, your pre-release events this next week. Enjoy Tales of Aria. It is an absolute ton of fun.